All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So we are going to do a viewer request here. Really, I can probably call these recent runners, High Tide and RCAT, two very, very nice charts here. All right, and I number one, High Tide. There's so much that I've been talking about. A lot of it has been this 254 line, and I feel like that's been the theme for a lot of these videos lately. You get this crazy resistance that you can't get over. It's a resistance that we've literally been under years and years, right? But man, when you can break that critical line and then you use it as a support, the takeoff is inevitable, you know? And SoFi is another one where I was covering it. It really was the 200 moving average, not as zoomed out, but you can see it just couldn't get over, 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 got over, bounced on the support, and I mean a lot further along than High Tide. And I'm not necessarily saying that that's the same thing that's going to happen, but I see the same thing. The resistance just turned into a monster support, a monster bounce point, and hey, we also had the 50 moving average sprinkled on that in that bounce point right there, right? So beautiful lower indicators. Man, there's a lot to like on High Tide right now. All right. With RCAT, before I go to the RCAT chart, I want to make fun of myself a little bit. Look, I'm never here to brag about being right. I try to talk about my mistakes more than anything. This one's an interesting one because it's a little bit of both, all right? And I hope you've read this stuff by now, but look, I was looking at RCAT and you can see it as I type into the chat. I was the only one really talking about it too. In June, in October again, and man, it just our cat took off on me, and I for sure did not capitalize on. And the funny thing is, right here, I said I can't believe it's pushing 8. All of a sudden, we're pushing almost 12, right? And actually, if you look at after hours, I don't like after hours much. It is over 12, right? So with our cat, a lot of the things that I saw back here in June, July really were the same weekly and monthly zoomed out views. So that's a little bit of the combination with these two tickers, but really both are just on an insane run right now. And man, RCAT is just on next level. And one thing I've been saying, and I know I'm getting more into the technicals, but I'm just going to say it real quick. Look, 86 is a crazy high RSI, crazy high, all right? We were just at 94, 93, 92. Like, those are all insanely high numbers. To go from a 90 all the way down to only 80 and then get back up to 86 and seemingly hungry for more, that's pretty crazy. And I think the only reason that we're okay doing this is NASDAQ. NASDAQ is looking really good. NASDAQ is living at all-time highs, right? As we look at the S&P 500, it is living in all-time highs, right? As we look at the DJ30, it's arguably prettier than the other two, and it's been crushing it a little bit longer while those other two were still kind of trying to recover and obviously already had, right? So when the indices are good, when the ocean is calm, you can ride your boat out a little bit further. And hey, what seems like a too hot moment most days, when the ocean's flat, you can probably go a little deeper than you would have otherwise. You know what I mean? So, interesting technicals, but yeah, I think the combination that you're going to see here is I'm going to look a little bit more zoomed out than I normally do on my videos, all right? But before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? I will focus on the daily and the weekly. That is more my bread and butter. I start to lose my confidence as I go a little bit further out in the charts, but I'm going to look at the weekly. I'm going to look at the monthly. I don't know if I'll look at the yearly for RCAT. It's a little bit crazy, but I'll probably look at the yearly for High Tide. And then I do draw my manual horizontal support and resistance lines. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So, High Tide, I want to, I don't know what the best part of High Tide is, all right? I don't know if it's this amazing, and I'm not joking when I say amazing. I'll get into all the technical details shortly, but I don't know if it's this amazing chart and setup that we're looking at, or if it's the fact that it's doing it while Tilray is dropping, while CGC is basically dropping. SNDL, how are you doing? Yeah, you're just now under there. MSOS, where are you? Right? Like we're still under the death line there. ACB, are you kind of holding? Man, TCNNF, True Leaf seem to be, damn. High Tide is the lone wolf in the forest, in the wherever the wolves live. I have no idea. This is crazy to me, and for real, I don't know what to emphasize more. Okay, because I always talk about sector strength. That's a real big fundamental of my videos here, right? In my sincere opinion, it's really hard for one stock to go up while the entire industry and the entire sector and 7 of the 8 tickers I normally look at and whatever, while they're all going down, this one shouldn't go up. You know what I mean? And hey, none of my rules are set in stone. I'm here saying I break rules often too, right? But man, High Tide is a beast, even though everything else in the sector seems like it's dying right now. And oh my goodness, I feel like I can't emphasize that enough, all right? Dow Jones has been looking really nice. And you know what's really funny? Dow Jones looks a lot like High Tide. All right, let's just look at this real quick, right? High Tide has a golden line, it gets over, it ends up coming back down around the 18th and makes a good recovery and takes off. Dow Jones, it makes a good little move. It comes back down around the 18th. It's able to go and it makes its way back up. One thing that I feel like I've been saying on all the weed sector videos is there's always a major disjointment from the Dow Jones. Again, I realize this is a Canadian company. I realize they have nothing to do in the US, and I realize looking at a US major index kind of seems silly on a High Tide Canadian ticker. This is a 4-letter major market, right? When I type in High Tide, this is a NASDAQ listed. This is not an over-the-counter pink, right? So to me, you gotta look at the US index just because of that. From there, I always look at the Dow Jones because to me, there's no technology in this, right? Like I get it, there's some cool grow lights and some, cooler like vents and this. There's no technology. This is farming. This is selling things at a store. There's no e-com here either, right? So Dow Jones does good, weed should do good. Dow Jones is doing good, weed is not doing good. High Tide is dropping the hammer and going like this. Oh man, I hope you caught the magnitude of all that. And I haven't even said a single thing about these beautiful technicals here, all right? Let's just start up here, okay? And again, I started the video with it. I'm gonna show SoFi one more time. Listen, we're probably right here, give or take, on the High Tide chart, and by no means am I saying it's gonna do the exact same thing. High Tide pushes, SoFi is a 30 million share a day, right? High Tide, are you 3 million? You're 1.5, right? So you're 5% of that volume if I did the math quickly in my head, right? So the volume is different, the attention is different. SoFi is a tech stock. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of tech stocks than non-tech, so I'm not making that like for like, but look at the 200 moving average and just think about that 254 resistance, right? We lose it at some point. Obviously, our 254 line was way back, but same thing, right? We lose it at some point, nowhere near it, nowhere near it, nowhere near it, nowhere near it. We now hit it, we now hit it, we now hit it, we've now hit it a bunch of times. Oh, we're finally over. No, 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 it's not real. We're over, we bounce up the 1, 2, 3. I mean, I don't even want to count it, but what seems like a billion times of rejection, what went from a crazy resistance was this monster support point that bounces us and takes off. And man, we are nowhere near it anymore, right? High Tide did just do that. And look, I always say these are computer generated lines. I'm just some dude clicking. These are way, way better, but every now and then there's one that I feel I clicked well. You know what I mean? And this 254. We lose it back in the middle of 2022. We don't even come close to touching it for about a year, right? All of a sudden, we're touching it, we're touching it, we're touching it, we're touching it. We fail. We go over it. We bounce like a champion, and now it seems like the technicals are about to do the rest. We are over all. You break all five and you fly. I feel like we are over all five. MACD just went positive, never slips negative. That's probably the lowest point. MACD is 0.02, but that's it never loses that negative. Even right there, look at that one. 0.01, 0.01, never a negative, right? MACD is holding. RSI just went from a real high 84 down to a very, very textbook and very, very healthy 31, getting ready to go right back up to an 80, still at a very healthy 69 right there. And hey, Friday is always a loser day. Short trading days are always a loser day. Instead, we get double the normal volume and we get this is a monster percent, right? I actually care less about the 14% and I care more about that we destroyed the biggest candle to the left, all right? This one's even about high. No, this one still is higher. We destroyed the biggest candle to the left and we took down the next resistance line. We couldn't even do that right here, right? Obviously just a single candle and all this, but look, at this point, it does feel like we're going to continue. Again, my RSI is saying I'm still hungry. My MACD is saying I still want some positives. And look at the volume. It's been a little sporadic for sure, but I actually don't mind that volume. What generally happens is the white line gets too high and needs to come back super low. It's actually still going up, right? The 50-day, the volume ain't stopping. And I remember, I've been covering this thing for a good while. It wasn't that long ago. We were barely hitting 200K. Yeah, look at this random day, 158. This random day, 95K. My wife is bringing me coffee. Say hi to the people.
Hi.
Say all right.
All right.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Nice, nice, nice. So again, we're barely hitting 200,000 shares a day to pushing million, right? Not millions. We'll get there. But oh my goodness, right? We're not that far from almost 10x volume growth, right? 200 to 2 million times that by 10, you're adding that extra zero right there, right? So high tide, I mean, this daily is hungry for more. Where's the more? I don't think I said, oh, we got a draw. Oh, I have a next line. Our next line's right here. That's a good line. Maybe 360 will slow it down. We're a little, I don't know if I think we'll take 360. Nonetheless, maybe 360 will slow it down. I think we're heading to that 396. I think we might even wick a kiss of 4. If this was to come down, I'm going to talk about, I think that's our line. I don't think we're going to go below 315. It is extremely bullish over 309. All right, let's take a look at the weekly. This is an important weekly. All right, I was talking about the golden line, and this was just one of my manual human little clicks, right? I'm just some regular dude. Hopefully you're watching enough of my videos and you're starting to make just as good clicks, right? This is a computer generated line. This is the last moving average of them. This is the strongest. This is the hardest. We came just a whisker under it this week. We couldn't touch it. And again, you got to respect that, right? Ever since that line was created, right, on this week, there was no purple average 100. I'm sorry, average 200. All of a sudden, it was created right here after the 200 weeks were done, right? Ever since the formation of the line, we've never touched it, right? We couldn't touch it today. We never touched it. If we get over that, oh man, that's where things will be different. That's where I believe volume will change, right? I don't want to say different because obviously things are already good. And I'm like, what will change if we get over the weekly 200 moving average is volume. I don't think this will go anywhere below 500 million shares after that. I think from there, that's look, I sincerely believe money's moved by computers and algorithms. That is why I believe in technical analysis. I do my best to be one of those fancy computers, right? When you're over all five on the daily and over all five on the weekly, that is where things get different. That is where a stock is just, I don't like using the word safe. All right, the market's crazy. All right, I like Raj. Raj has actually answered a private Twitter message from me. It was really cool. He's the only CEO that follows me. And Raj, you never know what's gonna happen, right? Again, I'm not saying anything. But like the market is crazy. All right, but things get just a little safer when you're over them all right? This is a wildly important 332 line. I still think we're gonna go to this 4. I do, okay? That's on the daily view. What I care about is where Friday closes. For all I know, we might make a rip to 4 by Tuesday and then come back down Friday to 315. That could be realistic. That could take the daily from the 60 to the 80. It's going to need to come back down and healthy, not quite it on the weekly, right? On Friday, give me 340. Honestly, I'll even take 335. I will take a few pennies over the 200. Set up this week to confirm next week. Let's that's our goal. For all I know, we might end up just kind of living around here, just kind of living on that 200 moving average. Again, one thing I said, I'm going to go to the yearly real quick. If we can end the year over 315, all of a sudden I'm seeing red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 nothing, nothing. Like that's where things could get silly next year. Okay, so even if we can't break this 200 as well as I'd like to by the end of the year, we're still close enough to do really important things on the weekly. 315 is where we need to close on the last trading day of the year. 335 is what I'm hoping for. 340 is Friday. All right. Damn, I spent 17 minutes on this one. I was not planning on doing that. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into RCAT. I spent way longer on that last one than I wanted to. All right. This one, in very, very many ways, I'm going to make fun of myself a lot. All right. So I don't know if you saw it at the beginning, but look, I was looking at RCAT as early as June. All right. RCAT in June was actually sub $1 at some point. I don't even know exactly when I was looking at it, on the 17th. It's probably around $1 by then. It is now at 11, and I can promise you I did not 11x my money in any way, shape, or form moving this thing. So I miss runners too. I miss more than I hit, especially with chart. Can you imagine how many tickers get thrown at my face? And I do my very best to answer everyone. I don't care if you got 0 followers or a million or whatever, right? Oh man, I miss so many more than I hit. And I saw a bunch of people on Cooler talking about it. Yo, don't worry, I do it too, all right? But I want to show you what I saw back in June and July, all right? When you went to the weekly, all right, back in June and July, it was really tight right here. And it started to feel like if we can break the 100, we'd go to the 200. All right, or again, around June, you can see it break the 100, start to believe we'd get to the 200. Around that same June, July, it seemed like we can break all 5 and fly, right? So with those two things, I started to think to myself, you know what? We can go from down here all the way to here. I can take this thing from a buck something all the way to almost 2 and actually 2x. And I'll be honest with you, I think I did do a little bit more than that because I do think I averaged up during the weeks. If I had to guess, I have no idea. I either sold it, man, maybe this one, if I had to guess, maybe even by here, because now we'd lost I think this might make a little more sense, actually. I probably gave up right here, and truth be told, I just never came back and looked, all right? But the daily and the weekly, I hope you put that in your back pocket. That's a free little thing on this video. If you see a break on all 5 and you see a beautiful channel that has that red, 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 green, 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 red, right? Like, let me just draw the line. I'll delete the line after. But from here to here, all I see is red, 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 nothing, 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 green, 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 red, red, red. It was gonna be, and it did come, green, green, green. And it was literally a single week, right? Because that single week destroyed, given the fact that we were able to break all five and fly, right? Like that, if this was boxing, that's the jab, that's the right hook, left. Like, I don't know, I'm not athletic, but you get it. That's a knockout 1-2 right there, right? From there, yeah, the thing went crazy. I missed it. I'm not going to make fun of myself anymore. But again, one more time, I miss so many. I do. I'm not that much better than you. I just got real deep end obsessed. And you can do that too if you really want. All right. What do I think's going to happen here? Man, I don't know. Because things are getting crazy now. Okay. We've now, and here's one more thing I want to say. Okay. I for sure did the super zoom out. All right. I for sure did the super zoom out, and I for sure saw this, right? Like, I saw if this thing can break the 50, go to the 100. On the weekly, I see as I zoom out all this red, 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 red that I normally would say, and like I see how high that, like, normally that stuff kind of scares me, and I keep trying to zoom in and out to a good point. I don't know where the good point is, and I don't know where to draw my next real line. I think it's way too crazy to draw it on one of these, right? Where is that? That's 17. I'm quiet because I'm looking at this trying to think right now, and I apologize. Where are you? Oh my gosh, that's where we're at. That's my next line. It's 16. 1640 could be next here. And then after 16, I would probably take that right there. 1640 and 2561 are my next two lines up for RCAT. If this was going to come back down, I would draw that. Oh man, we're about to pass that on the 8. I don't think this will come any lower than 7. I don't. It would be a devastating fall from 11 to 7, right? Like, that is not a good drop. I don't know if that 9 is strong enough to hold. Give me a sec. Is there a line I can see? I can't, man. I'm sorry. I can't. I can't see it very. I don't know. I don't know if nine's gonna hold. Cause to me, you would either lose all this candle. Maybe I can say I. All right. I think these are my thoughts. I think this 990 should hold. I do. I think the nine. I can't get one more view. I wish I could see one more little baby candle without the like crazy pop. Come on, baby. Come on. Right there. Oh, that's a good line right there. I'm going to lower this 1105. That's our line. Okay. I think 1020 is the next line down. If 1020 is lost, I think it'll come to 9. I think between that 1020 and 9, hopefully it'll catch itself. Otherwise, that's when the 7 would come. Otherwise, if this thing, and again, you know I don't like after hours too much, but this thing's already still pushing in after hours. If this thing opens higher or at some point hits 1182, 83, 84, all I would think about is 1640 at that point. All right. This has been a beast for sure. Again, NASDAQ, let's just look at QQQ. It's easier to type. NASDAQ is pushing. All right, NASDAQ on the weekly is only a 60 RSI. NASDAQ on the daily is only a 44 RSI. There is so much more QQQ right there. Let me just look at NASDAQ as I'm saying the words again. NASDAQ's only in the 40s, right? So I feel like there's more NASDAQ love coming. If that's the case, that should give RCAT a technology, a NASDAQ stock some love. I can't believe that we were pushing 90s just to come to an 80 in here, but look at that volume. right? Like volume is beautiful. MACD is hungry to go higher in the positive, right? Like when things are good, it's a little bit easier to ignore a single indicator, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you all so, so much.